In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a beautiful, soft, and dreamy romantic portrait. Hello and welcome to Luminar Coffee Break. I'm Angela Andrieux, and today I want to show you how I created a really soft and dreamy romantic style portrait. I'm using an image that I captured at ClickCon a couple of weeks ago of the beautiful model Michaela. And let me go ahead and show you the before. There's our before. And here's where I ended up. I really like the almost painterly style and very soft, romantic feel of this image. Let me show you how I did it. I'm going to right click on my image, go to adjustments, and revert this to the original. And then we're going to go down the list here and make a few edits. And it looks like I just jumped to a different image here. Give me just a second. My mouse just did something weird. One moment. Sorry about that, guys. Well, you know what? Let's go ahead and just work on this image. This is another beautiful image of Michaela from the same shoot. So I'm going to right click on this one, go to adjustments, and revert this to the original. And hopefully this doesn't jump on me. Yes, it just did. And you know why? I am working off of my catalog here, and I'm in a folder of my edited images. So this is a great thing. If you start having images that you revert to the original and they pop away, it could be that you have some filters set. So if I go back to the grid view here, you can see I'm showing only edited images. Instead, what I'm going to do is right click on my image, and I'm going to go to images in the same folder. So this is going to take me to my actual folder, and then we can work on the photo that I had set to work on with Michaela for today. Let me see if I can find it. One moment here. I know it's right along here in this series. 1 second. Sorry, guys. This just goes to show that even those of us who use this software all the time, you know what? Sometimes we have the same things happen that you guys do. All right, so here we go. Here's this beautiful image of Michaela. And I'm going to go over to Edit. And I'm going to start by going straight down to my portrait tools and working with some of these down here. So we'll start with Face AI. I think our face is pretty well lit, so I'm going to leave that alone. I did shoot this a little bit wider than I should have, so I'm going to do just a tiny bit of slim face to compensate for the distortion of my lens from being a little bit wider angle than I should have been for our portrait. Next, I'm going to go ahead and scroll down to the eyes section. Now her eyes are closed in this image, but we still have some dark circles. We can go ahead and wake those up a little bit. And I'm going to go down to her mouth, and I want to make her lips a little bit darker and a little bit more red. And that just gives her face a little bit more definition. Now we'll go down to Skin AI. We'll pull up our amount right about there. I think looks good. And now you do see we have quite a bit of shine here. Some of it is her makeup. She has very shimmery makeup on, but there is also some shine from those lights. So I'm going to grab that shine removal and pull that all the way up, and that's going to soften down a lot of that. The next thing I want to do is go up to our glow tool, and we're going to add that dreamy nature that really characterizes this particular series of images. I'm going to switch to the Orton Soft and pull my amount up right about there. I think that looks really, really nice. And we'll go into our advanced settings, and we can adjust the softness, maybe pull back a little bit on the brightness, add a touch more contrast, adjust the contrast. I think pulling back actually on the contrast even more removes that glare there on our forehead. And then we might want to warm this up just a little bit. And there we go. Now we're starting to really get that really beautiful soft look. All right, so from there, I want to go up to our dramatic tool and add just a touch of drama. I don't want to go too far here because drama tends to desaturate, and it can make the edges and lines a little bit more harsh. I think right about there looks good. And then we can go down to our brightness and saturation. Again, I want to back off that brightness. I want to keep it saturated. There we go. And we can adjust the contrast. And I think pulling that back a little bit more there, that looks delightful. All right, let's finish this off with a nice big soft vignette. I'm going to scroll up to our vignette tool, pull my amount slider all the way down to -100. I might make that size a little bit smaller. Pull the feather up for a nice smooth transition. And now I'm going to grab choose subject and make sure this is positioned right where I want it. And I can just click around and watch that move until I have that vignette positioned exactly where I want. And then take the amount slider and pull that back to where it looks natural. Now, a couple of other things that I might address in this image. The first one is we've got a little bit of a distraction over here with this cup and the jewelry hanging out of it. I might use my clone tool to get rid of that. And before I do that, I'm actually going to go up to my light tool. I still feel like our highlights are a little bit too hot, so I'm just going to pull back on those highlights a little bit more, soften that up, and I think that looks really, really beautiful. Now let's go down to our clone tool and grab that distraction there. We'll just get rid of it. I'm going to go down to clone, and from there what we're going to do is set our source. So I'm going to set a source right up here, and then I'll make my brush size bigger using the left bracket key. And then as I paint, you see that source is moving and it's actually painting in what was right up here. So now we have a really, really clean area and have gotten rid of that distraction. So that looks really, really good. We'll go ahead and let that render. Beautiful. Now we've created a soft, moody, dramatic, everything that you want in a portrait, a romantic portrait. So again, here's the before and here's the after. Let me take a quick look at the questions here. Good morning, David. Good to see you. Had the same issue with the original image. Glad that was helpful for you. And if you wanted to remove the effects and keep the face with Orton Glow, how can you keep the sharper features on the face? That is a great question. If you didn't want to use that softening on the face, what you can do here with the Glow tool is go to your masking. And if you just wanted to keep it in like a circular area, that might be the best time to use a radial mask. And then make sure you choose the circle where it's making the changes on the inside of the circle as opposed to the outside. And then you can just draw that circle there, and everything that's in red will be affected and everything outside of it won't. So right now we're softening everything on her face and nothing else. What if you want to do the opposite of that? I'm going to go ahead and reset that and undo my mask. And undo one more time. There we go. And I'm going to switch to the outside. And now I can go ahead and redraw that mask. Let me go ahead and just reset this here. Give it just a second. Go ahead and clear that mask. And now I can click to drag that circle, and everything outside of that is being affected and everything on her face is going to stay sharp. So for this particular instance, I really like that softening effect on her face. It softened out some of those shadows because the lighting was a little bit on the harsh side. And some of those highlights on her face were quite bright. So I probably wouldn't do that, but you certainly could, and that's one way you can do that. I hope that's helpful. David asked about super contrast to remove excessive highlights. That's another great tool. We can definitely take a look at that. Go down to our super contrast and pull up our highlights contrast, and you'll see how that's starting to bring back some of that detail. And then you can adjust that balance here, right about there. Let me pull that back a tiny bit. Like I said, her makeup was also very shiny. There was a lot of shimmer. So I don't want to get rid of it entirely, but I think that's really good and much improved. Great tip, David. Let me go ahead and do the before and the after. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you like this video and you enjoy tips like this, make sure you give us a thumbs up here on YouTube, and we will be back with you again tomorrow for another short video using Luminar AI. Have a great afternoon, everyone.